Okay, if we have a look at this game, we can see it's got an introduction. It's the ping pong game we did right at the beginning of the term. It's got an intro, and we will notice that I've made some changes to the game whereby when you reach a certain score, we will find that the paddle will get smaller. Okay, I think it's more than 10. So let's have a quick look. So the score will go and 10. Yep, paddle gets smaller. It's now a little bit more challenging. And then I've set it, I think I've set it so that when it gets to 15, the ball moves faster. But I've made it only a little bit faster, I think. So let's just have a quick look. Yep, you can see it goes a little bit faster. So the changes I've made to the game first was have introductions of instructions of what you need to do in the game. I've then obviously made the game so that it progresses. So initially it's quite easy. You can then change it so that the paddle is smaller, and we're going to change another level so that the paddle goes a little bit faster. And then I've made one more change to the game. So I'm just going to start the game again, demonstrate it, and you'll see that we lose a life. So 2 lives left, 1 life left, 0, and it says game over. So this is your aim today, is to try to accomplish this. Okay, so first we're going to do is we are going to create another paddle. So when we go to costumes, you can see you can create another paddle. And we're just going to go to the first one, duplicate it, or copy and paste it, and we're going to make it a lot smaller than the original one. Rename it please to small paddle. The other one's going to be large paddle, which you should have done, or should have been renamed already. Okay, so we're going to go to the backdrop, to the stage. So please check carefully. We're going to create a new backdrop, and we are going to change the color of sort of just have a rectangle of the background. We're going to have a white text. You can obviously change the colors if you like. Have a white text. Okay, so what I would like to do is I'm going to create a paddle and say give the instruction of what to do with the paddle. I'm going to change the background color in a second because I've accidentally changed the background color. Choose background. Let's choose a white color. Yeah, perfect. Maybe black. Yeah, black looks better. I'm going to put the paddle there. Okay, and we're going to create another one, which is now the dead zone. So you can all do this in your own time. Pause the video if you like, and just create these things. And then we're going to put some text to sort of say what to do with the paddle. So the text is going to say, okay, use the arrow keys to move the paddle, or just to move. And we're going to duplicate that, and this time we're going to say something about the dead zone. You can either say something, make sure the ball doesn't touch the dead zone, or don't let the ball touch the dead zone, something along those lines. Okay, you can always, I'll just put it in quickly, you can have whatever instructions you want on the screen. You can have some pictures, you can have some more titles, etc. Okay, we're going to create a third stage, or backdrop, and we're going to have one called Game Over. So we're going to have a Game Over title. We're going to make the title bigger. Again, you can reposition it wherever you want to put it. And then we're going to create a background, the full, also a white background. There we go. And you can see it's in front of the text. We're just going to push it backwards, and there it is. Okay, so now we've got the 3 backgrounds. So now we need to go to the code for the background, and be careful that you not go onto one of the sprites. We're going to say, okay, at the start of the when I click start, I want you to switch to costume, not game over costume. We want to go switch to intro. Okay, and I don't think I've renamed it, so I'm going to rename it quickly. I'm going to call it intro. Go back to the code, and it says right at the beginning, switch to intro. So we're going to introduce some new instructions or new scripts, and we're going to say here there's one called wait, okay, which means it will show that background for a certain period. We're going to make it, I think we'll make it 2 seconds. You can obviously make it longer later on. And then we're going to say after 2 seconds, switch to the neon, which is normal. So let's just test that. There we go. So we press start. It's obviously a lot quicker because I've actually sped up the video. All right. So now we're going to go to the paddle, and we need to make a few changes here because we don't want the paddle to sort of the game to start when the green flag is clicked. So what we would like to do is we're going to say, all right, when the backdrop switches to intro, okay, I would like you to hide because we don't actually want to present, because you see when the intro is there, we want everything sort of to disappear. So I'm going to say hide, and then we're going to say after a certain amount of time, I want you to show, which means to reappear on the screen. Okay, so after a little bit longer than the intro, so I think the intro is 2 seconds, so after 5 seconds I need to show yourself. Okay, so it's going to hide, and then after 5 seconds so you can just test that quickly. There we go. So you can see that it's done that. So what I need to do is I need to duplicate that because I'm going to copy it into each of the other objects, because other objects need to hide as well when I start the game, right at the intro. We don't want it to show, we want it to hide. So let's just go to each one, and we're going to delete that when green flag is clicked, and we're going to just position that on top of. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let's test that quickly. You can see, all the sprites are gone. After 2 seconds, after 5 seconds, they reappear and they start, which is brilliant. So that has worked well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to try to get our paddle to be smaller after a certain amount of time. Okay, actually no, we're going to change so when the lives are 0, we're going to have the backdrop change to game over. Right, so we need a forever loop. We're going to say, okay, if, and we're going to have these operators which says if the score equals 0, if lives equals 0, we can obviously have one where the lives are smaller than 0, so we need to have both. We need to have this OR statement in there. Okay, so lives equal to 0 or lives smaller than 0. Now you can see I've made a mistake here because I've actually put in lives bigger than 0, and that is actually wrong. So lives equals 0, we need to change the backdrop to game over. Okay, alright. Now, you will see later on when I test it, it just doesn't work. But anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get Scratch to change. So when it's game over, we want all the sprites to hide, to be missing, because you just want the game over on the screen. You don't want anything else. So we're just going to say hide. We're going to just test that quickly. You see it says game over already. So I can see now that it's saying game over already, and I'm not sure why. So I'm trying to figure out why that is. Okay, so there's a mistake. I put lives bigger than 0, so it will always show game over. So I need to change that. All right, there we go. So start the game. Okay, and the ball hit the dead zone. One more. Excellent, game over. We can see the ball and the dead zone is still showing. So we're just going to duplicate. We're just going to say, all right, when you receive the message, I could have copied that, but anyway, when the backdrop is game over, I want you to hide. There we go. And the same for dead zones. We can copy that, just paste it in there. Go to dead zone. When backdrop switches to game over, hide. Excellent. All right. So now our next step. Well, we could test that just very quickly. But our next step is to get the paddle to be smaller when the score reaches a certain. So we're going to say if score is bigger than 10, and this is where we're going to introduce something new. We want to say, right, if the score is bigger than 10, we want to broadcast, we want to sort of send a message that says, all right, we could say level up, but we're going to say smaller paddle. So when it's bigger than 10, I want a smaller paddle. So that's a message being broadcast. Then I can go and I can say, all right, when I receive the message, smaller paddle, change the costume to small paddle. Okay. Alright, so when it's bigger than 10, it will broadcast the message that says small paddle. When I receive the message that says small paddle, I can switch the costume. Okay, so there we go. And as I'm testing it, I can see that it changes costume. Brilliant. Okay, but later on I find that it actually doesn't change it back to the big one because I've not instructed it to do that, but I'll change that later. Alright, so we're going to duplicate that because I would like an instruction for the ball as well. So we're going to say if score is bigger, let's say 15, we can change it later. If score is bigger than 15, we're going to make a new message. I'm going to say move faster or faster. Okay, and then we are going to again have one that says, all right, if, where is it? Okay, when I receive the message, move faster. Okay, and we're going to have a forever loop. Let's put a forever loop in there. So it's up at control forever. And we can't say, I know initially we said move 10, we can't say 15 because actually what it's doing is adding the 10 to the previous 10. So you're going to put 2 because 10 and 2 makes it a little bit faster. So let's test that quickly. Alright, so I can now see immediately that my paddle, now I can actually see that there's not a mistake with the paddle, but I can see that the paddle is actually already small and it didn't start off big. So I know why that is, and we're going to fix that quickly. Okay, so let's have a quick look. It's not because the paddle's the wrong size. I tested again and you can see there is a big paddle and there's a small paddle, but it always starts with the smallest paddle and actually needs to start with a bigger paddle and then move to the small paddle. So let's look at the instructions, the scripts. So I can see the mistake that I've made is I didn't actually say at the beginning what size paddle, what costume to choose. So I'm going to say right at the beginning, I'm going to say switch costume to small paddle, sorry, large paddle. And then when I receive a message for small paddle, it will then switch. So let's test this quickly. And this should now work. So I'm just going to stop and start. You can see it's the bigger paddle. Excellent. So if we get a score 10 or more, actually 5 or more, if set it to 5 or more, the paddle goes smaller. And then if it gets more than 10, it should move faster. Ooh, I've got 1 life left. Hopefully I can do this. 15. Okay, come on. 1 more and then it should move faster. Okay, you can see it's moving a little bit faster. You can set it so it goes a little bit faster than that, but that works. So let's miss the ball and we can see it's game over.